Here are the 4 keys for delivering bad news. We're going to clearly explain the issue, acknowledge the impact, let the person respond, and then manage expectations. We're going to go right to key action number 1. When you are telling people what they don't want to hear or giving them bad news, you owe it to them to be crystal clear, to not sugarcoat the message, to not get it mixed up in fluff or bluff your way through it. Doctors have to be clear because if the message is misunderstood, people don't have the information they need to make the right decisions. And I would say the same goes for our coworkers and our employees as well. So we are going to clearly explain the issue in such a way that you are brief, no preamble, no fluff. I want your approach to be assertive. There are 3 ways we can communicate. We can be aggressive, we can be passive or assertive. So aggressive is we just put it out there without empathy. We definitely don't sugarcoat it. Passive approach would be more of, I'm dancing around the issue. I am sugarcoating the issue. So we're not going to do either of those approaches. We're going to be assertive. My definition of assertive is say what you mean what you say, but don't be mean when you say it. That's assertive. That is the approach we will take when we are clear. Finally, I want you to work to be confident, to feel confident, and to sound confident in your delivery. Every doctor that I spoke with about bad news exuded confidence. And part of that may be that profession, that MD behind your name and the respect they have in communities. But we need to muster that same level of confidence. It is easier for the other person to take our bad news when we deliver that with confidence while we are being clear. Key action number 2 is I want you to acknowledge the impact that this news, the no, or whatever you are saying has on the other person. Another way to look at acknowledging the impact is think of it as empathy. That's exactly what it is. So why do we acknowledge the impact? Recognizing the person's concern, it helps you preempt an escalation and it moves the person from that emotional right brain. We talked about that in week 1. When you show empathy, acknowledge the impact, you help a person move out of the emotional right brain where they're more likely to react or overreact or become emotional, and you help them become whole brain. How do you acknowledge the impact? 1 sentence is usually enough. 1 sentence of acknowledgement. I know this delay throws off your entire day, or I know this throws off your entire schedule. I realize this puts you in a bind, or I want to get your shipment to you as much as you want that shipment. So 1 concise, genuine sentence to acknowledge the impact after you are clear will help keep the person out of the emotional right brain where they're whole brain and they can listen to you and go with you to the next steps. After you acknowledge the impact, I want you to pause and allow the person to respond. When you're giving a person bad news, I want this to be a conversation. It needs to be a dialogue, not you talking at them. I don't want it to feel punitive. So we are going to pause to make it a dialogue. But pausing does another thing for you. It protects you from over-explaining or losing confidence. And then a third benefit is it allows the other person to express any emotions, or ask questions. They need to react. They deserve to react. So this is a triple benefit. Allowing the person to respond again, you make it a dialogue, you keep yourself from over-explaining, and in that dialogue, people get to ask you a question. How do you do that? After key action 2, I literally stop talking. I pause, usually within 4 seconds of this pause, the other person or the other people are going to begin to react. So it won't be an awkward pause. They've got questions and now you are opening the door, letting them respond. Key action number 4, manage expectations. To prevent further disappointment, by establishing what you can realistically achieve, I want you to manage expectations. My dad's doctor managed expectations when I tried to push back and say, but if dad did have a heart attack or a stroke, he'd likely be all right. I mean, he's surrounded by a team of surgeons and doctors. The doctor did not let me hold on to that false belief. He explained to me, managing expectations. We will certainly do everything we can, but you need to understand it is possible to have an event where we're not able to recover. We're not able to save the patient. In that same way, you owe it to people to manage expectations. You do that by being transparent, avoiding assumptions, and that includes assumptions that they are making, like I did with dad's surgeon. You're gonna keep people apprised. Now, in the conversation with my dad's doctor, that was a one-shot conversation, but in the workplace, very often we need to go back and update people. So that's what we mean by keeping people apprised. Are there options that you can offer? There may not be, but if there are, this is the time to bring those up. Dad's doctor offered options when he really put the ball in dad's plate, as every doctor would with a patient. You can have the surgery or not. It is up to you. So 4 keys for delivering bad news. Earlier, I asked you to get a situation in mind where you have to give someone bad news or a situation you've struggled with in the past. As we wrap up this lesson, I encourage you to bring that situation back to mind, and I want you to practice how you will give bad news. I have a preparation sheet for you listing the bad news, and you can type right on this document. I want you to get that scenario in mind and write out how you will have a conversation. If it comes up again, if this is something that happened in the past, or for a conversation you need to have, write out how you will structure this conversation using my 4 keys for delivering bad news. Until next time.